just can't let you know. I just can't let you know.
Hello and welcome to the DynamiXX Simracersworld GT Series live on ApexRacingTV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me this evening is Marco Barbner taking you through today's action, and we're here at MoSport, the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, to give it its long name. And Marco, fantastic to be here. Unique circuit. It's such an old school circuit. I'm sure people have seen, Jules Villeneuve, for example, race around here, drifting around half of these corners. But it's ever so unique, super long corners, plenty of elevation change, and I think a really good fit for these GT3 cars.
And the racetrack, where on the 22nd of March of 2002, I started my sim racing career in my first official racing Grand Prix Legends. And,
Really?
Yes, and the race ended in a disconnection. But my point is that the track hasn't changed much since those days of 1967. The layout has remained more or less the same, and I think that it's still one of the best racetracks you can find anywhere in the world. Of course, the best track, I think, in Canada. We have very little time before qualifying, so what do you say we bring up our guest driver for today? Steve Clace, I think, is waiting with you, Sam, and just before he runs for qualifying, we'll ask him a couple of questions.
Yes, we'll try not to disturb him during qualifying. But Steve, out there in the Audi today, are you feeling confident about this track? Do you think it kind of suits the Audi's characteristics?
Well, it's quite hard to get to find my way around the track. Haven't raced it since a long time, so still struggling, but we'll see what the race gives.
And how important do you think qualifying will be? Do you think you have to qualify high up, or do you think overtaking will be quite simple around here?
Well, I don't really have any idea. I think qualifying is not that important. It's a very long track with high-speed corners and the backstretch and stuff. So I think there will be much passing opportunities, but it's I think it's quite dangerous. You don't have to make much mistakes. There are really fast turns where a small mistake can end your race. So it's really have to be careful.
Absolutely. Well, qualifying has just started, so we'll let you go, Steve, and we'll have a chat with you later on.
Okay, no problem. I'll see you in the race.
So that was Steve Clays, one of the front runners in the Silver Championship. And well, before we go through qualifying, we will go through the standings in all the different categories. So Martin van Loozenhoorn leading the way in the Gold Championship. However, he has had computer issues so far this week. And so unfortunately, I think he's going to be missing this week, which is a great shame. But certainly gives some other drivers a good chance. One of them will be Marcel van der Linden, who is quite far behind, by the way. Only got about half the points of Martin van Loozenhoorn, so going to be tough for him to catch up. I've Bengenekton, who unfortunately hasn't been taking part in many of the rounds recently, and unfortunately he's not here today either. So he's still in third position currently, with Ruben van Buell and Marvin Julian Amont rounding out the top 5. In the Silver Championship, Davy Witzbowls, a healthy lead for him despite a no-point score in the last round. He's ahead of Jeremy Hessel. Steve Clays is in third, who we just had a chat with. Stephen DeWolf is in fourth, and Nick Sherman's in fifth. Of course, super competitive field that. Really difficult to call who's going to win that week after week. In the bronze category, David Fuller, I believe, missing this round as well, whilst he's having a taxing holiday in Lanzarote. I think I might be making that up, but it's somewhere like that.
He's in Ibiza.
Ibiza, sorry. It's poor him. Ben Thanes closed that gap, and he's got an opportunity to close it a little bit more, but he really does need to win today if he's going to keep his championship hopes alive. Theisberg is in third with Scott Malcolm fourth, and Giles Muldy is in fifth position. The first few qualifying times coming in, and it's Steve Clays, now that we've shut up talking to him, who's put it on provisional pole by over a second, but expect those times to tumble as the session carries on.
Yeah, and the leader of practice was the silver driver, David Whittables. You know, it's a short track, this one, as Metherell gets on provisional pole. So we might see, you know, shorter tracks usually tend to, you know, of course, make the difference between the drivers a little bit more, you know, similar to each other, you know. So we shall see as Van Buell goes in. And of course, with, you know, we are not having our championship leader in the race, so you know, we saw what happened in the previous round, where you know for Martin van Loozenhoorn, it was cruising towards the victory, and then that big issue that cost him the race win and ended it to Matthias de Tige, who I think is not around as well today. So really, Sam, the field for the overall victory today is wide open, I have to say. And who knows, maybe we could have a surprise winner, maybe even a driver not from the gold category, who, by the way, I have been told by our good friend Ian Roots, has been already sealed, the mini overall, the mini championship for the gold drivers by Martin van Loozenhoorn, but the overall, like you were saying, is still open. So Whittables gets third place, so he's certainly backing up his pace, but Van Buell once again improves on his time, 14.5 right now, and he gets, you know, a bigger foothold on the provisional pole.
Yeah, he's been very strong recent weeks, has Ruben van Buell, since he switched to the BMW. I think he's been in the BMW for the whole season. He's just picked up plenty of speed recently, getting the hang of it. Also, van der Linden often leaves it late to set a lap time. We saw it at Zolder. Maybe cost him a chance at pole position, which eventually really cost him in the race, because if anyone didn't see Zolder, really good race, not a whole lot of overtaking. I'll spoil it now. Kind of the top three just stayed in their positions for the entire race. Who was it who won? Apologies.
Last race, Matthias de Tige won.
It was Matthias de Tige, apologies. De Tige isn't out there today.
Yeah,
no.
So the field is wide open, like I was saying earlier. Yeah. Anyone can win.
So we're going to have so none of the race winners so far this season are on the grid. So
that was a very nice thing to notice. Of course, I didn't think about that, so we are guaranteed to have a new winner, which is always nice. Of course, we are not happy, you know, a bit sad for the drivers that are missing due to various issues. But no, that's the way it works, you know, and Yeah, everyone who wins today will be a very, very well-deserved winner. Let's see if Van der Linden can set a valid time, because he has failed to do so. Oh, second place, look at the gap, 0.048. Very, very close to Van Buel, who immediately after Van der Linden sets his time, comes out of the pits because he knows his pole position might be in danger.
Yeah, absolutely. Depth of the track temperature may be rising a little bit as the in-sim time progresses, and also the dust just running out there does naturally increase the track temperature due to, well, iRacing say, very nice physics. Safe to say they could improve on other things, but in terms of track temperature, they are certainly improving on it drastically. Although, I would say when you turn up on December at Silverstone, and it being 18 degrees air temperature, not so realistic.
Yeah,
So maybe they need to adjust that.
You bring, you know, a point that, you know, it's quite, you know, I mean, today we had a high of 36 degrees here in Rome, and tomorrow and on Friday, the estimated high will be 38, and that is, you know, not considering humidity and all that other nice factors. So
I've heard that some French schools have actually had to shut for a week. Is that happening in Italy?
Luckily, you know, we have a country with many problems, but school ends in the first week of June here, so.
Right, okay.
which I like for many reasons. When I was, you know, a student, I would go home, you know, in June until the first week of September. You had vacation, and also now as I'm a little bit older, because when the schools are closed, especially in the big cities like Rome, the traffic halves. Like, it's beautiful. It's the perfect city with the schools. You can go wherever you want with no traffic.
Lovely. Well, still out in the lead is Ruben Van Buel, but Marcel van der Linden trying to bring an end to that. No personal best sectors this time, though.
He's coming
So
out of the pits.
Oh, is he? Okay, thanks for that. So now you would expect him to hit some personal best sectors.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, daily reminder that Sam is doing this job with a very hard task of not having the graphics on the screen, so he doesn't know. And no, because you might think he's crazy, and also without you know, the notification when we are on a replay or not, and I have to say he's almost always spot on.
That is my best skill, actually, forget commentating, but knowing when we've gone to a replay is just a sixth sense that I've got. Also, Van Linden getting the car stopped, but well, overheating those rear tyres, as you can see, and well, he's not going to be on this time. Gets out of the throttle and will try to go again. Here comes Tom Metherall for the Meraki Racing AMG team. So often, there or thereabouts, can they get their first win of the season today? Metherall, currently third, crosses the line, and that was an outlap as well. So you can see I'm struggling.
And I made the mistake as well, you know, so don't worry. I thought he was on a quick lap. He wasn't. Van der Linden, I don't think his lap has been invalidated, but of course, first it's going to be a very slow one, and second, I think he cooked his tire just a bit too much. It's going to be hard for him to put on a good lap in this.
Bod Bolan says on a good lap.
Let's see, because I'm seeing that he's in the 2-minute 50s. But you know, sometimes sometimes the overlay gets a little bit crazy. Let's see. No, he was on a good lap. See?
Yeah.
You know, having the graphics is not a guarantee of being right, as Sam just showed us, and Bod Boland only 0.288 away from the pole position. Let's see if Van der Linden can improve on his time. He only needs, you know, 51 thousandths of a second, basically, you know, to go in front. 51 thousandths. Oh, I mean, that always gets me confused. But he's not improving.
Well, of course, on iRacing, their timings go down to about the 8th decimal point. So he really does just need to improve by about, yeah, half a tenth. And that would do it for him. Here comes Marcel van der Linden. And approaches the line. Can he get into the 17s? Sorry, not the 17th. Yeah,
Oh,
well,
it
it's not enough anyway,
yeah,
but he's still in second position.
yeah, it was still a good lap, but not enough. And once again, I think that mistake he made, sliding his tires at Moss Corner, really compromised his chances. You know, he was. I think he had a shot at pole position without that mistake. You know, the way these V6 tires work in iRacing. You know that you really don't want to slide them. As we see Lee Diemer coming home, P12. So he improves on his time, but not on his position. Who do we have left? Steve Clays. I like that Dave Whittables is driving a Ferrari and is 0.488 away from pole position. Like, very fitting of the car he is driving.
I didn't quite understand that at first, but well, no, I did.
They say I have in Italy. My friends say that I have a very British humor. So
Yes. Steve Clays.
ooh, we have
This
a nice.
can't be a legit lap, I
Steve-
imagine. Or it's a very long lap. Ah, here we go. It's expired now. So well, we can go through the grid. And on pole position is Ruben Van Buell in his BMW, his first pole position of the season, I believe. So well done to him. Marcel van der Linden alongside him on the front row of the grid. Bod Boland starts in third. Tom Metherell in fourth. Behind that is Andrew Hopley. Top of, sorry, no, he's a gold driver. Apologies, in fifth. David Whitballs, top of the silver drivers, in sixth place. So really good for his championship hopes. That Gregory Rank starts in seventh with Chris Muretta in eighth. Ewan Marshall starts in ninth with Seb Herbert, rounding out the top 10. Behind that is second out to the silver drivers, Stephen DeWolf with third in the silver drivers. Lee Diemer just behind. Next drives Mouldy, top of the bronze drivers, ahead of William Bush. Jeremy Hessel, Steve Clays, John Barnes, James Hobden is second out of the bronze drivers with John McConville just behind. Then rounding out the top 20 is Lee Woodburn. Behind that it's Scott Malcolm, Dyersberg, Kevin Boland, and then the drivers who did not set times, Dion Phillips and Ben Llewellyn.
Yes, I think
Of
Ben.
course, those race stewards, don't take any notice of them. They had to change their names because I kept on getting confused whether or not they were drivers or not.
So, Dion Phillips didn't race in the previous round, so I don't know if he had a penalty from the round before that. I think Ben Llewellyn had a penalty. Also, happy birthday to a legend, I think, of Apex Racing TV, always, basically, every day of the week on your screens, Scott Malcolm. So, happy birthday, Scott, and he's asking for the other drivers to let him win to celebrate his birthday.
I'd subscribe to that.
I absolutely agree. As we have this beautiful view from up high, cloud cover over the racetrack, which means, is going to help these drivers a bit, I think, in the, especially with the tire wear, as we have a full pace lap around here, and which is not going to take a lot, because of the way the track is, very short. Let's see if I can get back the weather. Yes, here we go, and you can see the track temperature is 29 degrees, so not the coolest, of course, but of course very manageable, I think, for these drivers. Oh, there you see, track map has disappeared, so let me work on getting that back, because it's not coming back.
Well, of course, after the outrage 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen of the lack of track map, well, we can't have a repeat of that today. Watch out for that turn 2 on the opening lap. You can see there's plenty of runoff there, but if you just dip a wheel onto the grass on the right side, then it's very easy to go skating off into the barrier, and that's kind of the theme for a lot of these corners. Such long radius corners, and you're carrying such speed through them. If you just get them ever so slightly wrong, you get onto the grass, it can be a long way into the barriers. Very much the opposite of Paul Ricard. A lot of people would have seen that on Sunday with the high grip runoff there as well. This place, it's like an ice rink once you fall off the road.
And I think the biggest change this track has seen in recent years that iRacing doesn't have is the paving of that runoff area you were talking about.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, but they are still crashing there in real life as well. But of course, these drivers would really love for it to be paved. But it's not, and like you were saying, if you go there with two wheels, and you know, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm quite sure in just a few seconds we are going to see someone put two wheels there on the grass and add for that wall. It's you know, it's quite hard to get the car back into, you know, pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, I think so. We saw a fantastic start at Zolder. Really only one instant, and that was halfway around the opening lap. At Watkins Glen, we saw some issues. What start are we going to have here at MoSport for round 10 of the championship? 2 to go after this one. And I'm sure you cannot wait to get into this race. The final couple of corners are going to be executed by Ruben Van Buell and Marcel van der Linden. Those two are on the front row of the grid. And we are about to get underway. The green flag is out. And it's a very good start for Ruben Van Buell. Gets the racing line straight away. The two Meraki racing drivers of Metherall and Boland are side by side. Metherall might just be pulling ahead through the opening corner, and that's a very good start for Metherall. Hopley's only just behind, but he's not going to go for a move yet, as Van der Linden really pressurising, and Van der Linden's off. He's going to surely go off into the barrier, one of the championship contenders, and he's off in just the second corner, as we were talking about just before. A slight wiggle with the rear end, and he went skating off into the barrier. Nothing he could do about it, and that's a real relief for the likes of Tom Metherall and Ruben Van Buell out in the lead.
Absolutely a disaster there for Van der Linden, who is now lost several places, but of course now also he has to contend with the damages. Now Bush, who hasn't had a very good season so far, is also in the fence, I think, at Moss Corner, certainly in the grass. Yes, also in the fence, as you can see the hood of his car is bent. So it's Van Buell leading, and behind him there's a train of Meraki racing cars. So he has to really look in his mirrors, because these three guys are certainly going to work together. David Whittables, of course, promoted one spot because of the mistake there, as also Van der Linden is letting people past. So I think he's about to peel into the pits for repairs. What a disaster for him.
Absolutely. Oh, by the way, Marco, you might want to connect to the room. I think there's been a slight issue there. But yeah, not a good start at all for Marcel van der Linden, and yeah, back into the pits already. And of course, you can't get to the end of the race on fuel at this point. So really disappointing for him in these early stages. But I'm not. Did you actually see that incident in the first corner with Van der Linden?
Yes, I did.
Marco? Yes, cool. I was just running slightly different cameras, so I wasn't quite sure.
Yes, no, because I had to reload the overlay because of the damn track map disappearing on me at the worst possible moment. But now it's back as Kevin Boland has been, I think, caught out by Moss Corner, and this corner, another trouble spot. You know, this one and the second corner, and now he's making more damage to his car, trying to get. So the Nomad Sim Racing drivers really not liking Moss Corner. Of course, you saw William Bush head into the wall there, and now I think that will be the end of the race for his teammate Kevin Boland as well. So not the start they were looking for, as Gregory Ranks and Sebastian Eberer are going at it. Sorry, that is Lee Dimmer, of course, and Sebastian Eberer going at it in the fight for 8th place.
The start has been reviewed, by the way, by the stewards, and no further action will be taken, I think. As far as we could see, I think that was quite an obvious decision. By the way, David Whitball still leading the way in the silver category, ahead of Lee Dimmer, who's now got ahead of Steve Clays, I believe. Or was Dimmer ahead of Clays at the start? No, sorry, Stephen DeWolf, apologies, has had a poor start. So he's gone from second in that class down to 7th at the moment. So really quite a poor start for him. Here's Lee Dimmer then, trying to get past Seb Herbo. He's got 3 cars between him and silver class leader, who's actually under pressure from Chris Moretta, who's going down the inside into this long double apex right-hander, and that's a nice move there from Chris Moretta. He's down 3 places actually from where he started. Oh, sorry, no, up 3 places from where he started, as Dima really on the tail of Herbia, who I must say, Marco, is one of the most consistent drivers out there, so Herbia. He is constantly 8th to 12th, and now he moves down into 9th position, surely, hanging around the outside nicely in his Ferrari. And, well, Lee Dima getting frustrated. He can see that David Witzbols is vulnerable just ahead, but he can't quite get past this Herbia quite yet.
Other issue this time is Ewan Marshall having some big problems. The other Meraki car in this race, the only one that's not in the top 5. And was he the victim? Oh, that was a very strange way to crash there. Fully. I think he had some earlier damage because he towed back to the pits immediately. So I think his car was, you know, nursing some other kind of problem, because that was not, you know, a crash, I would say, worthy of heading into the pits, you know, straight away. So certainly he was having some other issues.
Herbia has been overtaken by Dima, or has he?
Oh, here we go.
Round they both go. Herbia might just collect it. Dima hits the wall, but he'll be getting back underway. Hit the tyres instead. Herbia trying to retaliate, did not want to let that one go whatsoever. So Dima's already got ahead there, maybe at Moss Corner, and well, wants the outside line, and Herbia there, well, maybe more room could have been given by either, but it was probably Herbia who could have stayed a little bit tighter to the circuit, and I wonder if the stewards will have a little look at that one.
I think they will, The Ferrari got away with it, but Dimmer backed into the tire wall there, so not ideal. Sorry, I misspoke, of course, because there are 4 Meraki racing cars in the top 5. It's the 5th one, the one that was having issues, Ewan Marshall going back to the pits. Unless there's not a Meraki racing car that I'm missing, they should have 5 in this race. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. The you know, Metal Ball and the Nobly very close to each other, and then a little bit behind is the Mercedes AMG, here is, of Chris Moretta.
Yeah, he's already pulled away from Davey Witzbols. What times are Moretta doing? Nothing spectacular, can't just maintain that gap to the 2 drivers ahead. Andrew Hopley quite close to Bod Bonin currently. I wonder if there's going to be a switch of position between these two, half a second between the pair at the moment, because even if the BMW is faster, it's so tough to overtake that BMW with the lack of straight line speed. That's and of course this circuit's not the easiest to overtake around either. So it might just be worth those two switching positions at some point if Andrew really feels like he's faster, but I imagine they're both in the same Discord and may well chat to one another about that one. A little bit further down, Phillips.
Oh, the Dimmer guys around! Oh, he collects the Audi!
That was Phillips that he made contact with there, and Hessels, I think.
Yeah, Hessels is also involved, yes.
Yeah.
Lee Dimmer, I think, you know, sporting some damage from earlier. Massive wreck. Let's go on board with Dion Phillips. Sees the car spinning on the grass.
Nothing he could do.
Yeah.
They tried to go either way, and in the end, they kind of just... It was almost the worst place to be. Just showed how tough it is to avoid an incident like that.
Let's go. As we have the incident between car 42 and 254 under review. This is from Jeremy Els's perspective.
So he nearly made her.
Yeah.
So 254 is Dima. So yeah, that was the incident that we just saw. How did you find that one out, Marco?
On the YouTube chat.
Ah, okay.
I would have said, you know, magical powers, but no. Oh, Dion Phillips.
Oh,
now,
well, that's in the barrier.
Yeah, that's the end of his race. Let's see. Oh,
They
the
must have
corner
got
there.
him pretty hard here. Gosh.
Wow. The speed, you know, the deceleration was massive. Also, at the same time, Looks like Tom Methrol is closing in on the race leader.
Fastest lap of the race last time round, and he took 3/10 out of the race leader just in sector 3. I assume that, or sector 2. But nice final sector actually from Van Buell. He actually pulled away by 3/10, so negated that. And in the end was 1/10 faster on that lap was Van Buell. So Metal must have got really close down the back straight, but just couldn't, but just dropped back at the end. Of course, does have that straight line advantage. You'd assume we've had another crash. It's Lee Woodburn. Out of the race, was running, I believe, as high as 3rd out of the bronze drivers. But it's another Excite Racing driver who is out here at MoSport.
Attrition rate being, I think, the highest we have had all season, Sam. And this track is really, really, really unforgiving. He was already on the limit in the S's, then he lost traction coming out of the... Oh, and poor Steven de Wolf. Steven de Wolf has been involved. And let's see if he has some damage. I think he was already sporting some damage, you can see in the front of the car. See the Audi spinning in front of him into the barrier, back on the... And the fact that this track, you know, has the walls so close to the racing surface means that if someone spins and hits the barriers, in many of the places they are going to bounce right back onto the racing line. And, there is no way you can avoid it, basically. We've seen already a couple of instances about of that today.
I think he was actually running in the race lead, was Lee Woodburn, before that crash. I think he was the car ahead of James Hobden, who now inherits that lead. So really disappointed for him, and hopefully de Wolf will be able to carry on his way. Tries Moody, doing pretty well. He's one of the few drivers who isn't involved in a race up there. 2 leaders up. Bod Bonan 1.5 seconds behind these guys. Did close in by 2/10 on that last lap. See, he's really pushing behind. There's a half spin for Andrew Hopley in his BMW just in the background there, and he's lost well, just a few tenths there. But in such an intense race as this, you really don't want to be making mistakes like that. The track temperature, by the way, 31 degrees. Expect that to get as high as 40 degrees by the end of this race. And you can see Van Buell really losing a couple of tenths down that back straight. And in a way, Marco, it's tough to overtake through that long double right-hander, but in a way it's also tough to defend as well, because you can go around the outside and you can go around the inside, and it's always very difficult to tell which one is better.
Yes, absolutely. You know, but on this track, more than on any other track, I think, of the schedule, the drivers really have the opportunity of forcing other drivers into a mistake, because there is no, like I said, like we said, tarmac runoffs or stuff like that. So if your opponent makes a mistake, you are going to pass him 9 times out of 10. So really, we can see some very, very psychological kind of battles today. And for Ruben I wouldn't want to be in Ruben van Buell's shoes right now, because you really cannot afford to make any kind of mistake, and that Meraki Racing AMG is getting closer and closer, and the other Meraki Racing AMG of Bod Boland is there, you see, not that far away, lurking, waiting for a possible mistake.
Scott Malcolm on the tail of the iceberg. These two in a bit of a duel. You can see Malcolm with a bit of bonnet damage. And running wide just ahead now is Berg. This is the opportunity that Malcolm's been waiting for. Couldn't really get close enough on the exit. But that Mercedes with better straight line speed. He's 4/10 of a second behind, but really not gaining enough. And has to stay behind. How is Steve Place doing? Steve, I hope that we don't, you know, interrupt him. Although, to be fair, he's 6/10 of a second behind Seb Herbert, so I think we'll leave him be for a while, because he needs all attention on that Herbert who was defending earlier on, and
you know,
has
it's going to
remained
be
in
hard
that 8th place.
for us to find a moment to talk to him, because the way this track works.
Yeah.
By the way, warning to car number 42 for driving standards. That's a decision of race control about that collision between number 42 Sebastian Eberer and Lee Dimmer, who then caused teamer, you know, some big damage. Look at Scott Malcolm, the birthday boy, going on the inside, which now becomes the outside. Not really a passing spot, this one. Into Moss, I think he will back off. BMW of Vandenberg is a little bit on the limit, as you can see. But Malcolm seems to, you know, still be there, trying to find a chance to move through. But so far he has to stay put.
Of course, these drivers do face an instant limit, apologies. As here comes Malcolm down the inside, almost being let past there. A mistake from Theisberg, at least that's what it looked like, and it's got Malcolm up into 3rd position in classes. Hobden, Llewellyn, and Malcolm now the podium sitters in that class.
Why do I see him in 4th? I see Dries Mujdi as #1 in bronze. And he has bronze
I see him
number
as
plates.
a silver driver.
Well, I think...
He is a bronze driver, apologies.
No, it's my mistake. I probably didn't give you the updated project file. So... But it's strange because you should see him as a bronze driver in the overlay. So we'll have to talk to Pascal about that, but back to us. So, you know, Sebastian Eberer, under big pressure from our in-race reporter Steve Clays.
Here comes Clays. Herbert doesn't particularly like this corner, and he might want to take a slightly more caution, but he's spun once again, dipping his wheel onto the grass, losing grip. And is he going to lose another position as well? Yes, he does. John Barnes, this time in the Team GB Esports car. And Herbert remains in the top 10. He'll be kicking himself for that mistake.
2 wheels on the grass whilst he was turning. You don't really brake there. You maybe give a little bit of a lift to the throttle. Maybe a dab on the brakes as Steven de Wolf goes in. And so that is a very, very big mistake. Certainly, I have to say that he was lucky. Both times, first time with the collision there, but he didn't get any kind of significant damage, at least from our perspective. And also, this time would have gone much, much worse. So, you know, usually they say, no, 3rd strike you are out. He's got 2 strikes on his count, to use a baseball metaphor, and I'm very, very jealous that my New York Mets are not playing in the London series. Oh. Eber really, you know, flirting with disaster there. It's actually, you know, for a couple of years, they, you know, the team that was favorite to go to London for the MLB London series was the Mets. But then, of course, since we are so bad, they picked the Yankees and the Red Sox, 2 of the classic teams. They didn't want to leave any empty seats, which with the Mets would have been a strong possibility.
My favourite use of the 3 strikes and you're out rule is the American justice system. It does seem like a quite obscure way of you know, criminals as method. Well, that could have been it. He would have been behind bars if he crashed there. I don't really know what that metaphor means, but there you go. Methil still in 2nd position, thankfully, and he's been let off the cuff there. There you go. Bod Boden's still only 1 second behind him though.
Yes. So this gives, of course, the proverbial breathing room to Ruben van Buell. And now, of course, the Meraki guys need to be, and I'm sure they are, on the radio with each other. And they have to think about what to do, you know. I think for the time being, if Tom is able to continue pushing hard, he can stay in front. But otherwise, if they think that Bod Boland has a better chance at, you know, catching that BMW there, maybe it's time to make a switch. We shall see. You know, we have commented on series where team orders are, you know, common. For example, the VSL MX-5s. Especially in the Monday Cup, you see a lot of, you know, since that is basically a 3-team series. All the drivers are part of a team, basically. You see a lot of not only the tandem drafting, but also judging with the championship standings, you know, lifting, you know, in the final corner to let people by. Here in the Dynamics Championship, instead, I'm seeing that drivers are more, you know, I wouldn't say left on their own, but basically you have to, you know, fight for your position on the track.
Yeah, there's less cooperation, isn't there, amongst the teammates? Although, to be honest, we're kind of setting that example by the Meraki guys, who clearly do not support team orders by any means. Because the thing is, when you're running second, third, fourth, and fifth, as they have been for many rounds where they're kind of line astern, if you start involving team orders, then it becomes a bit dull because most races they're fighting amongst each other. So it is very good that they are free to race. Of course, John McConville, he'll be free to race against James Hobden. ApexRacing Simware Race Team versus SimRacersWorld. McConville down the inside. Just backed out of it though, and probably the wise thing to do. Don't want to make the same mistake as Seb Herbert did earlier on. Steve Clays, by the way, is currently, well, he's 1 second behind Gregory Frank. So we are just going to quickly pull him up for a quick chat. Apologies, Steve, for interrupting you, but you must be very pleased about getting past Seb Herbert.
Yeah, I got a bit lucky in the race at the start. Like I expected, people were going off track. But yeah, I'm just trying to not make mistakes, just follow, see where I finish. I don't think I'm able to pass or catch Davey because he's, I guess, running the same lap times as me. So yeah, we will see where we end. I just want to finish and not make stupid mistakes.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think the pit strategies are all going to be the same? Do you expect everyone to go as far as the tank will allow, or do you expect a few drivers to maybe pit early?
Well, I don't have any clue about that, but I'm trying to save a bit fuel and maybe it will change something. I don't know. But yeah, I have no clue.
Well, good luck, Steve, for the rest of the race, and hopefully you'll get past Gregory very soon.
I'm at least trying. First I have to catch him.
Yeah, only 1 second behind. So thanks, Steve.
See you. Bye-bye.
Man, that was the scariest minute of my career, basically.
Well, it wouldn't have been your career on the line, it would have been mine. If,
you know, when we interviewed Ian a couple of rounds ago, he was always alone in a track that was, you know, relatively calmer than this one, but...
Oh, yeah, well, he wasn't really racing for anything, was he? He was 1 lap down, for the most part, after a big first lap shunt. Whereas that, you know, he's second in the silver category, that could be... If he crashed there, that would have been the end of his championship hopes, so...
And you could hear him, while he was talking to us, huffing and puffing, changing gears, fighting with the steering wheel. Man.
Very well done to him, and if any other drivers feel as brave as Steve Plays or Ian Reitz, as we had a chat with earlier on in the season, you know, certainly do contact us or just pop in our Discord channel in one of the interview rooms before the race happens, and well, we'll have a chat with you for the broadcast, and well, we can discuss if you'd like a chat during the race. Tom Ethel still 6 tenths of a second ahead of Bodburn. Not too many other battles going on. John McConville versus James Hobden is also going on, and actually that's McConville-Hobden battle. Of course, quite interesting because if Hobden doesn't get this move done, then he's going to be under pressure from Llewellyn and maybe even Malcolm as well, because Malcolm is actually closing in on these guys, despite being about 7 seconds behind.
Yeah, a couple of laps ago this happened. McConville was behind Hobden, and you will see, I think, make a mistake at Moss Corner. Hobden, just as he goes out of our picture, there he goes. So the bronze
Most
driver...
common mistake, I reckon, on iRacing that.
Yeah, so now the bronze driver is putting the pressure on the silver driver. Oh, a little bit of a mistake there from McConville. Good save. The rear end was stepping out. Of course, people might think, you know, traction control and ABS, these cars are on rails, but I can tell you that they are absolutely not, especially with this version of the tires of iRacing. You know, it's always tricky to go through some corners, especially now. You can see the sun has come back out as Tom Metherell is going past. Oh, Van Buell is wide at Moss Corner. Another I mean, I don't want to jinx once again like I did at the start, but this race, and we still have 35 minutes left of it, will not be over until the checkered flag, because you see Van Buel enjoying a comfortable lead, almost beating the car there at Moss. So this track can really catch you off guard at any time. Let's see it once again. Well, that's it from the onboard perspective of Ruben Van Buel.
Yeah, he's just... He was fine on the initial braking, wasn't he? Just didn't quite slow the car down. Maybe a little bit of lack of concentration, a little bit too confident. The track temperature has risen by 5 degrees, and so that grip for the drivers, along with the tyres degrading, will be affecting them. Bod Bowden getting held up right now behind Stephen De Wolf. This is not what he needs one bit. De Wolf really gets out of the way, and yeah, just about does. Not really anything that De Wolf could do there. To be honest, Bod Bowden sends a in-race thanks to him. I always think that thanks, I kind of expect it to be sarcastic the majority of the time, but I think that was sincere from Bod. He now can
Bod Bowden!
Does now he's off, and he's going to have to pass De Wolf again, and that's really his pursuit of second place, potentially over.
Let's get a replay of that. So he was way past the Wolf, so maybe a mistake into Moss. You can see that he was already, you know, doing the pendulum. He was able to save the car to not go into a spin or worse, but, you know, he found his way into the gravel trap there. Let's switch to our in-race reporter, who is, you know, saying that he didn't have maybe the chance to make the move, but look at this.
Oh, late move on Branks. Place up into 7th overall. He's only 6 seconds behind David Witzballs, and finally has got no cars between him and the silver class leader. He might just have half a chance at winning today's race. I believe Claes has won 1 race so far this season. Witzballs, I believe, 4. So would be a win for the Audi driver. Very significant that. Can Branks now keep up, perhaps? Certainly doing a good job at it at the moment.
And of course we know what's coming next week. Monza, track where anything can and probably will happen, with many trouble spots. And you know, if you get things wrong at Monza, then you have to play everything you will have to play for in the final race, the 75-minute special from another tricky racetrack like Brands Hatch. So it's still a very wide open championship, especially in the class competitions. Ranks trying to get back at Steve Claes.
Yeah, nice straight line speed from there. Down the Mario Andretti straightaway, that was. This is the S's, and then the final, this is now a White's corner. I don't know if it belongs to White or not, or whether it's some other naming. Turn 1 doesn't have any naming, it's just Turn 1. Turn 2, by the way, is Clayton Corner. 3 is Quebec Corner. 4 and 5 don't have anything. Of course, you've got Moss Corner. And yeah, so some of the corners here are named. There's Tom Metherall, wow. Very wide. And sorry, that was a replay, wasn't it? I was saying how good I am at recognizing the replays.
Every time I say it,
by that.
It's the day you make a mistake, I've noticed. You get too confident.
Oh,
Resting on your
yes.
laurels is what you guys say, no?
This is live. Branks. Yeah, 7 tenths to a second behind. Does really have very good straight line speed. Really does gain some time. This is the only battle going on. Of course, nearly halfway through this race, pit stops. Do you know, Marco, whether this is a high fuel consumption circuit or slightly lower? I would have thought this would be quite a high.
Yeah, I would think, you know, that the throttle, you know, this is like, take this comparison with a pinch of salt, but I just had in my mind this comparison, so I have to say it. This right now reminded me of a North American version of the Spielberg racetrack, the Red Bull Ring, you know, where it's not very fast, it's not very fast, it's not very long, and you have the throttle open. I think in the Austrian race, which we're going to have next time around in real life, is the track where they have the throttle open most time in all the season, more than Monza even, I think, you know. So
wow, okay.
or some. It's certainly okay. That maybe the second
That
highest.
that would be about right, actually, to be honest,
Yeah, you
because
know.
those fast corners at Austria, the cars
Mm-hmm.
are so fast now. You think they barely brake for them. So actually, they're on the throttle for
You
a
know,
lot of the
I
time. You're right.
think this was a tidbit that the commentator in the F197 game used to say. So take it with a
Okay.
pinch of salt, because it was many years ago, and my memory, after all these years, might not be that good. But still, this track reminds me a lot of Spielberg in the sense that they have always, it's not a track that you think of a temple of high speed, but throttle is always open and it's not a very long lap. So you can see the similarities there.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, Austria is quite renowned for its 90-degree corners. Like the first 3 corners are pretty much the same. Whereas this has maybe got a few more flying corners, but certainly the elevation change, and you're absolutely right. A car
I think that
maybe
was the
off.
Wolf. I think that was the Wolf.
Was
Let's see.
it? Yes, you're right, I think.
You might hear the bang. Oh no, it
Ooh, no.
was lucky not to involve any other driver in there. And of course, I have to say, of all the bad things F1 did recently,
Oh, Glaze! Almost over and into the wall. A little bit of damage obtained. And Steve Clays, after all that work to get past Gregory Branks, his pursuit of David Witzbol's really has stalled now. And, well, we just wait to see how much damage he's got.
He's trying to get a feel for the steering. As Jeremy also is having an issue, a long issue, because he's not coming back on the racetrack, but we'll see. I think, let's keep our cameras on Steve Clays for the time being. I think he's going to head straight for the pits. And of course he's not, so maybe he thinks his car is good enough. That was a big hit.
He nearly rolled it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Once you get on your roof in iRacing, the only way out is escaping back to the pits. Oh, I just got too... No, I don't know. It was kind of just the weight transfer, I think. I thought it was initially the curb that he got, but no, it's kind of just the weight transfer on the brakes, I think.
Now, when you get on your roof, you can get back to 4 wheels. If you have a teammate
really?
on the ovals.
Oh,
in
yes.
the tracks.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can either get... Oh, dear, now Hessels, that's a replay. Got it wrong again.
And it's a very nice save. You have to say that...
Yes, did well. He's clearly made that mistake before, and he's learned from it.
Well, I made
Okay,
that mistake several times and I have never learned from it, so...
Okay.
I said that the pit window is officially open. Malcolm and Theisberg are both in. And also... No, the Wolf is there for the towing. So yeah, I said the pit window is officially open and Scott Malcolm has come out of the pits. Let's see his pit time. 18.15 seconds in the pit stall, and not a very long pit road, this one. It's, let's see, 45 seconds overall. Theisberg had a 20-second pit stop, so 2 seconds lower. So we might use these stops, I think, as a reliable baseline as about what these drivers are going to do, in terms of pit time in the next few laps, when everyone more or less will start to come in. As looking at the lap times there for Steve Clays, see this time around.
Not bad, actually. Very competitive.
16.4, 16.3 for Wittables. So that Audi, we know it's a racecraft esports car, so they know how to make the cars quick, but now I think they also know how to make the cars, very, very resistant too, because I am surprised he's actually still going after that kind of crash. And the steering, as you can see, looks, some damage on the front left, but, that's to be expected. The car seems to be straight, at least from up here, and he was very, 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 very lucky.
I would have a chat with him. I fear as they might shout at us.
Yes, I think it's not a good idea.
No, we'll have a chat with him later. But maybe if something good happens, we'll have a chat. Of course, if there was a safety car, I'm pretty sure he'd be happy with that. And I do have the power to do a safety car, but I've so far resisted, and I think I'll resist one more time. Ruben Van Buell 4 seconds ahead of Tom Metal.
Oh,
Good last
here we
stop,
go.
and now Herbert into the barrier. It's another crash, and
Hold the
Herbert's got
brakes,
to make
hold the
sure that he
brakes, hold the
gets off
brakes.
the racing line because there's going to be cars approaching. Herbert gets back going impressively, and well, another mistake on the exit of turn 1. Ever so disappointing for the driver who was running in the top 10, but it's been coming, Marco. He's already made a couple of mistakes.
Yes, now we should see a clearer picture of the crash, you know. Suburban. See, crash hitting the wall on the left and then on the right, so... And luckily no one was coming there when he was rolling backwards, of course. Not easy to stop the car there, especially because the track is going, you know, backwards. Not backwards, downwards, I'm sorry. Gregory Ranks is in the pits, so does Jeremy Essels. He is also in and out. Only 11 seconds of stop for him, for Jeremy Essels, so that was a quick stop.
Ooh, Hassel's dipping wheel onto the grass. Allows... That was the race... One of the races... That was Steve Clays, was it? Going past? I believe it was. So yeah, Hassel's almost with a quite costly mistake there. Vranks back out into the check, but he's behind James Hobden. And so Vranks maybe wanted to pull off a undercut. Although he was kind of around no one, was he, Vranks? So he's kind of just in his own race, to be honest, after Clays' mistake. But he's going to get held up behind Hobden for a few corners here. The bronze class 2nd place. Expect all the drivers to be in within about 10 minutes, as disappearing there is Hobden, and well, that's the last thing you want. Vranks gesturing, you know, let me go, and I think Hobden might be gesturing, okay, go on the inside, because I'm not going to defend from you. Vranks down the inside. Hobden's still not lifting off. Now he does. So I think he was trying to be generous there. It's always difficult when you've got no verbal language between the two.
He even went to the length of disappearing to facilitate the overtake.
Yes. If only that was an option.
Oh, Theisberg is in the run of fair at turn 2. And he saved the car, so good job. And also, he didn't lose any position, even because that would be very hard since he's the last of the running cars. So that was the understatement of the day. And our race leader, enjoying a nice drive in the Canadian countryside. We are in Ontario, of course, around, I'd say, 1 hour north of Toronto, which, as per usual, is the capital of Ontario, but not the capital of Canada. Many people get this wrong all the time, which I find it weird that the capital of the nation is not the capital of the province.
Yes.
Very weird.
It's quite odd. The capital of I'm horrendous. What is the capital of Canada?
Ottawa, which is
Ottawa. There you go.
Neither Montreal nor Toronto. That's the classic tricky question that everyone knows, but you know, when the time comes, because it's a city that no one remembers. You know, it's
No.
Canada, especially Eastern Canada, is split in the dualism of Montreal and Toronto. In real life, in normal life, I'd say, and also of course in sports, with hockey being the, and Ottawa sits there in the middle between the two cities basically, and Ottawa in reality is the capital for, one might think Ottawa is the capital because, they didn't want to pick either Montreal or Toronto, no? But no, because when Ottawa was the capital, it was not, smooth sailing in relationship between the USA and Canada. They also had a war, no? And Ottawa is in a very strategic position, being basically defended by a natural wall that's a massive forest. So basically it would have been much tougher for the United States to mount an attack on Ottawa instead of Toronto and Montreal. So, and then the decision stuck, so It's a very, very small city, not even 1 million inhabitants as Ottawa. So, but yeah, that's why it's the capital.
Ah, there you go. Well, I remember when I used to do my interesting facts, which I must bring back, but that was genuinely interesting, to be honest. Yeah. Would like to learn a bit about Canada, to be honest. Quite an interesting nation, I imagine.
You know, my signature dish is the pancake with maple leaf syrup. You know. So.
Oh, is it? Okay. I'm not a big fan of maple syrup.
Why
honestly.
are we in the same broadcast booth? Like, if we were in Canada right now, I would be eating pancakes night and day, basically.
Is it? Have you ever been to Canada?
No, I've never been.
I was just wondering
North
because
America.
it's like Italian. It's like Italian food, isn't it? Like coffee and pasta. I imagine it's actually better in the host nation than the replica is outside the nation. So certainly worth the trip.
You know, Canada has a massive Italian population, by the way. So you know, you can, if you watch a hockey game, there are many players with Italian last names. It's even in a percentage bigger than the percentage, I think, of Italians of Italian, you know, Americans of Italian origin or Italians living in the USA. So, and you know, Canada is much more similar in the way it's structured and shaped, closer to Great Britain than to North America. Even though people jokingly sometimes called it America Junior, no, but in reality, is you know, much closer to the European way of living and organizing the society, you know, the politics, etc. So that was an interesting fact for the day. I'm not sure that Ruben van Buell is very interested in this, as is why Scott Malcolm is back in the pits.
Oh,
He's
dear.
having a very long stop. Here's a replay of him. Let's see at Moss. Just went wide, I think. Nothing more.
Yep, seems to be fine. So Scott Malcolm, you'd assume he put fuel in it,
Yeah,
and he's
put,
still stationary. So yeah. Oh, he is now getting away, but that was a very long second pit stop, 1 minute 10 for him. And well, that's his chances of a podium in the bronze class. Safe to say those chances are gone now. Although he is actually still in 4th place with the retirees. Yeah, there's only 4 bronze drivers still going. There are only
five bronze drivers.
6 silver drivers. So there's 5 bronze drivers, are there?
Yes, Mujdi, Obden, Llewellyn,
Oh,
Van
sorry.
der Berg.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Once again, blame Dries Mujdi.
Yes.
But you know, I've been told that, maybe I told you the other time, the trick is for almost all the drivers, bar one, and I think that is Davy Whittables, yes. All the other drivers, if they have a 2 in front of their number, they are silver. If they have a 3, they are bronze. Instead, I don't know why Davy Whittables has this special permission of running number 21 instead of 221. Let's see, maybe Bart Delman, the steward, is listening to us and knows the answer.
Hopefully, and of course, if anyone's got any answers to our, you know, Canada questions or any interesting facts about Canada, please let us know, because yeah, very interesting. So surely pit stops coming soon. We are 42.5 minutes into this race. We usually see pit stops between the 40 and the 45-minute mark, and considering that we thought that this was going to be a high fuel consumption circuit, you'd expect them to come into the pit soon. Ruben van Buel's built himself such a gap that you feel as though he can't really be undercut or overcut by anyone. And Van Buel happy to carry on going. Hasn't got too much traffic up ahead. Ben Llewellyn will be the next driver up the road as
the bronze leader
out of the lead potentially. Where is James Hobden? He's still approaching, and Hobden is past. Llewellyn is past, and Dries Moody is still going very slowly, and a certain race victory may have just escaped him.
Oh, and who was that? No, Van den Berg is wide. You know, I'm looking at his rear wing, seems to be okay. So he might have gotten away with that. Of course, it's a disaster because he lost the lead of his race. But I think he might have gotten away with it, you know. So clipping the grass. Oh no, he did not. He just. No, okay. His car is 100% okay. He managed to stop before hitting there. So now he will be on a, you know, massive push, and the two Abruzzi Simware race team teammates of Obden and Llewellyn are first and second as Obden goes in, and Llewellyn will inherit the lead. Mujdi with a smart choice going in as well. And let's see, so Llewellyn got promoted to, remember, he started from, McConville, he started from the pits, did Llewellyn, so, the qualifying ban, he started from the very back of the grid. Now he's the leader of his class. Metherell and Boland. They are, I promise you, they are somewhere behind the pit wall. Here they go.
Oh, here comes, so Boland. Oh, sorry. No, that's such an apology. It's getting confused with Jazz coming out of the pits. Moving ahead there is Methyl, so the order will remain. Boland, actually slightly short to pit stop, 1 second shorter, but maybe saving a little bit of fuel earlier on in the race. A little bit of a unique pit exit that with the walls surrounding the circuit. But getting out nice and safely. Ruben Van Pure will be looking to do the same. He's got a 20-second lead now over Chris Muretta. He's still under pressure from David Whitball's, only 2 seconds between those two, but that gap has been maintaining for the majority of the race. If Whitball's won today, I think that would secure him the silver victory as Ruben Van Buell into the pits. Whitball's, I mean the silver championship victory. Also, if Ben Thanes, who isn't actually here, if he doesn't win the bronze category, which right now is looking quite unlikely, that'll mean that David Fuller will be the bronze championship winner. And so I think we'll have all our championships sorted with a couple of rounds of the championship to go. But the overall is still up for grabs, potentially. Although with Marcel van der Linden having a no score today, doesn't look too strong for him. David Whitballs then into the lead. I don't think we've seen all season a silver driver lead the race, but today, that's taken an end.
So Obden comes out of the pits in front of Llewellyn, and Mujdi is in third, and he has a long way, well, not a long way to go, but not a lot of time to cover the distance between himself and the top two drivers in bronze. And now, you know, I noticed why we are having such an unusual amount of crashes tonight compared to the, you know, normal, running, you know. It's because, as McConville is in the pits, we are missing someone, and I remember that he told he wasn't going to be here. It's the boss, Ian Rutz. I think he's somewhere racing related, if I'm not mistaken. And so he is not here, and we have a way of saying here in Italy. We say, when the cat is not home, the mice dance. Which is, you know...
That's a great saying.
And Llewellyn is really putting the pressure on his teammate. Battle for the bronze lead.
Yeah, Hobden started quite far ahead of Llewellyn. In the bronze category, he only started 1 place higher, but overall he started 8 places higher. But with all the crashes we've seen, remember we started off with 25 drivers in this race. We're down to 15, sorry, 16 still running. So plenty of crashes out there.
Yeah, 16, yes, because Scott Malcolm is back on the racetrack. So it was a bit of a disappointment for him to, you know, have that good run. I think the race leader is about to lap the bronze leaders. So always tough to, you know, overtake people that are in a fight. Let's see how this one goes.
Of course, always an opportunity for the car just behind. yeah, really got to use this to his advantage, does Llewellyn. Neither of these two have won a race so far, so you doubt that they're going to fight too hard, just because they don't want to put that in any doubt whatsoever. Here comes Van Buell, and well, he'll get past the first very easily. It's ever so difficult around this circuit to let other drivers pass, especially if you go to the outside, because you're putting a lot of trust on the race leaders not to understeer into you, because there's really no escape from that if they do end up doing that. But Hobden with a small lead at the moment over Van Buell, who's now got only 3.5 seconds to Tom Methel, so that gap has decreased. Was that an offer, Llewellyn? No, but it was as close as you can get.
Yeah, I think Llewellyn slowed down a bit too much to let... it was great sportsmanship, but it might have cost him a shot at the race win, because he really moved on the side. We saw that from the rear camera of Hobden, the way he pulled to the side. But seems like now he's coming back on this long straight, so maybe he knows he has the pace. And maybe he will go at it again, as Steve Claes has some big issues.
Will he keep second place in the silver class? Yes. Still ahead of John McConville by 35 seconds, a third of a lap. But yeah, he's lost a position to John Barnes there, Team GB Esports.
Good showing from John, by the way. You know, Team GB has been in the shadows of David Fuller. You know, their bronze driver dominating in that particular category. I don't think they've ever ventured this close to the top 10. Well, in the top 10, of course, John Barnes is. You know, oh,
here comes Llewellyn down the inside. Mistake from the race leader, the former race leader, John Hobden, and now Ben Llewellyn leads the bronze category at MoSport. Potentially another mistake here. This could be really the end of the race. No, Hobden kept it on circuit, and that is a very handy move there from Ben Llewellyn for a Brooksy Simware race team. And well, looking good for him to win this race now. Here comes Tom Methel to lap the pair of them.
Issues for John Barnes, and he loses the position again.
Oh dear.
We
well,
go...
that's a curse.
Yeah. We'll get both replays right now. So, here we go. We, of course, start with the problem for Steve Claes. I kind of know where this is going to happen. So, maybe only a spin. So, once again, he was very lucky. You see Barnes going through, but just a few moments later, maybe at the very same corner, that is in the background, you see Claes himself, and Barnes goes wide. Oh no, hit the wall. And that is going to be big problems for him. Look at his steering. Not ideal. I think he will have to soldier on. You know, he has only 8 minutes to go. So, but you know, if you want to, if there's a track, you never want steering damage, but especially on this track, you don't want steering damage. There are so many, you know, long corners where the car is always in the dynamic state, always turning. It is going to be a struggle for John Barnes to bring the car home.
Yeah, long 8 minutes for him. Of course, he can lose a place to, well, actually, he's got 25 seconds to McConville, so that ought to be okay for him, as long as he can keep up a decent pace. Llewellyn pulling away from Hobden. Moody is closing in on these guys. Benefited from the traffic a little bit, was 1 second faster than these two on that last lap. So, drives Moody, who was well on course for an easy race victory, was leading for the first 40 minutes of this race with no pressure from behind whatsoever. He is retaliating there. Only 2.5 seconds off the race lead now, after being probably about 7 seconds off earlier on. Has got a little bit of... Well, is that a... Is that just the two of them? Apologies. That's 3 cars ahead. But yeah, the one right at the front has already got past. So next up will be Bod Boland to get past the three of them. And I'm sure Muji is not going to lose any time as Bolin gets past. He'll try to make the most of this traffic.
Of course, now Llewellyn enjoying the draft from Methrol. And this will help him, you know, not be in a disadvantage, because of course he's in turn giving the draft to both his rivals there. And you are absolutely right, Sam. Mujdi is really closing in on these two as we enter lap number 43. So it's been a very taxing race for these drivers, both mentally and physically, I would imagine. You really, yeah, you have the Mario Andretti straight, but that it's not really a straight, you know, so you don't have many chances to, you know, take a breather as Llewellyn goes wide. But luckily for him, Obden was not close enough to, you know, to make his mistake, make him pay for his mistake. And I think at the same time, Obden will have to watch his rear view mirrors, because here comes Dries Mujdi, and he's a very angry and hungry Dries Mujdi, because he wants to get back to first place.
Well, he has to make this move straight if he's going to win this race, and you would imagine Hobden is going to do absolutely everything in order to keep the Dynamics driver behind. Try to protect his teammate as much as possible, put up a fort, and really protect that first race win for them this season, because Muji hasn't won a race all season, and if he could win today, that might put him up into second place in the championship. Here he goes, down the inside into turn 1, that 43 of the race. Drives Muji on the inside, there's almost contact between the two of them. A nice driving from Hobden there. That was really good defense. Didn't get too tense, didn't let the pressure get to him. And here comes the traffic as Muji almost clips the grass as he did earlier on. Almost clips it again. And here comes Boland desperately trying to get past. Third place in the overall standings, but Muji just does not care at the moment. And, well, is he obliged to let him pass? Not quite sure what the rules are, but you can see Muji is absolutely desperate to finish as high as he possibly can in the standings.
Fantastic run through Moss Corner. And now I think that Mujdi will for certain have a good run. Of course, he has to think about Boland, but I think that Bod is not going to force the issue. Or maybe he is, yes. Maybe the race direction, you know, gave him, you know, the blue flags. Did you see the Nürburgring in 24 hours in the weekend, by the way?
I did not, no.
Well, let's say that I don't approve, and I'm totally against the use of drugs. And that race is a perfect substitute for drugs and alcohol, especially at night. The blue flags light on some of the cars where you were on board, they were flashing constantly, especially on the Mercedes. So you had this blue light flashing in and out for, you know, at night they only have the onboards, no? Even the commentators of Radio Le Mans were making jokes about that. And then the race director was switching to, you know, shots of the panoramic wheel all lit up, and then all of a sudden the camera on the front stretch, and there was a car with his headlights blasting straight into your face. You should have put a warning before that race, because I don't remember it being that bad last year.
Here comes Boland then. Will Hobden let him pass? This is the danger that you face as a driver. He's done a good job, but he's still on the outside. Now, how committed is Muji going to be on the move? He's just going to commit to the inside. He wasn't quite close enough. And with maybe 2 laps to go, 3 laps to go. Yeah, actually, yeah, 3 laps to go for these drivers. Still got time, does drives Muji, probably not for the race when he's now about 4 seconds off the race lead. He's about half a second lap faster, you think, than Llewellyn, but that's not going to be enough to close the gap now. But Hobden's done an awesome job at defence so far. Almost being scared off the circuit there. And Muji, where's his best chance, do you think, Marco? Is he going to surprise him around this part of the circuit, or is it just going to be at the back straight?
Back straight, I think he will try to go on the outside here. Very, very tough to make it work, because the track really favors the car on the inside, and that's exactly what happens. So I think that the best chance is at the end of the Mario Andretti straight. But by trying the move there, I think he's a bit too far away, and now he's also a bit sideways. So I think for one more lap, Obden will be in the clear. Let's see. Ruben van Buell then. We are lapping in the 1 minute 15s. So I tell you what, I think we might have 2 more laps after this one.
Yep. Just about forcing it. Yeah, this is going to be... he's only going to have a couple of seconds to spare. You know what? He's probably going to have about 1 second to spare.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he is going to force 1 extra after this.
Yeah, iRacing really likes to, you know, when in doubt, give 1 lap more. Sometimes this plays, you know, tricks to the drivers. Not very, you know, like tricks that they don't like, because, you know, they might have fueled just right. And then all of a sudden you have to do 1 more lap.
Well, he could slow down, couldn't he? And not do the extra lap.
I mean, yes, but I almost think like the calculation is done at the penultimate lap. I don't know.
Yeah, you might be right.
I keep having this feeling because I've seen cars come with 15 seconds too late and still be given, you know, 10-15 seconds, 10 for sure, 15 maybe, and be given the extra lap. So really, you know, it's part of the magic, you know. So.
Moody is so good round Moss Corner, but he never really gets the launch off it. He's not fantastic down this Mario Andretti straight. Where is Hobden going to go? It goes to the inside. Muji is going to have to really race his way around here. Got to be so committed, leaning on the tyres, but no, he just doesn't want to go for it yet. And he's going to give himself 1 more lap to have an overtake, and he's very close across the line once again. Might actually be coming out of turn 3, I think might be his best chance, because that seems to be where Hobden maybe kind of takes a slightly unusual line, taking that very wide line. It's probably going to be his best chance, certainly where Fuji has got closest so far. So how wide does Hobden go this time? Llewellyn well ahead of these drivers. He's well on course for the race victory. But this time, staying tighter is Hobden, learning from his mistakes, learning from how he lost the race lead, remember, just 10 minutes ago. And now he's holding on to a 2nd position. I think we're going to have to cut to Ruben van Buell imminently, even though this battle is really kicking off, because we've got our overall race winner, our gold race winner as well. A Joe who hasn't scored a win all season long. But Ruben van Buell will come round the final corner, and he's going to win round 10 of the DynamiXX Simracersworld GT Series at MoSport. Still, Muji is trying to get the move done. Hobden defending valiantly, and it looks like he's going to hold on to that one. Llewellyn is going to win out of the bronze jars, and there goes Muji on the last corner of the race. A brilliant move there. We just saw the end of it, and he takes home 2nd position. What a fantastic fight back after a mistake. Davey Whitspot is going to cruise to the race win in the silver category, and that should be the points he needs to win the silver championship as well. Consistency has been key for Davey Whitspot, but today pace was absolutely dominant, and this is how it happened. Had to get it done through the S's. And, well, it looked as though his chances were over, Marco.
Yeah, maybe, you know, some, let's say, you know, bumper run, a bit of a mistake. Let's see. It was on the outside. And moving on the maybe... Oh, Hobden was way in front there. And then very slow. Yeah, I mean, totally committed. Maybe, you know, I don't know the situation with the tires. Maybe, you know, the 346 of James Hobden was a little bit too cautious around there. But this doesn't take anything away from Dries Mujdi. He really went for it and made it work. So, nice job, congratulations. And in just a second, I promise you, we are going to give you the race results for... I was about to say race 1, but no, this is the only race of the night, which is too bad, by the way, because we had a lot of fun. And here we go.
Yes, and it's Ruben van Buell, winner for the first time this season, ahead of Tom Metherell, Bod Boland was in 3rd place with Chris Mietza 4th. Andrew Hopley was in 5th place. That means that it was a Meraki Racing 2, 3, 4, 5. Davey Witzbowles, winner of the silver category in 6th place overall. Gregory Banks was in 7th. Steve Clays, nice job in 8th. But John Barnes, a nice job as well in 9th place. Both those two up 8 places each. John McConville finished in 10th place overall. He was the first driver 1 lap down. And then it was Ben Llewellyn, his first bronze victory of the season. So nice job from him in 11th place overall. Then it was Dries Moody, James Hobden, Jeremy Hessels, Thies Berg, Scott Malcolm, Seb Herbert, Stephen DeWolf, Dion Phillips, and Lee Woodburn rounding up the top 20. By the way, Herbert, DeWolf, Phillips, Woodburn were all retirees. Along with those lots, the other retirees were Lee Diemer, Marcel van der Linden, after qualifying in 2nd place, remember, Ewan Marshall, Kevin Boland, and William Bush. Rounded out your 25 car field. So many retirements, probably high attrition rate I think we've seen than any other race so far this season. So quite remarkable. So who are we going to have a chat with? Well, I think the only guy we can have a chat with first is the birthday boy, Scott Malcolm. Congratulations, mate. And today's race wasn't perfect, but it's a decent present.
It could have been better if I hadn't messed up a couple of pit stops.
Yes, what happened with that second pit stop? Why did you have to pit again?
Let's just say I had to take a comfort break.
Right, okay. Well, you know, when you have to, you have to, I guess. But
yeah, I thought about doing Alonso at the Indy 500, but I thought, nah, I better no.
yeah. But before that, you were having a really good run. I can't remember who it was who you had a battle with for quite a few laps. I think it was Berg, was it? Who you were chasing for about 10 laps and then finally made the move. So it was good fun before the pit stops.
I thought I had the pace to get like at least 2nd in the bronze. But like I said, I just kind of... I don't have the luck that everybody else has, you know what I mean? I could just... This is one of these things.
Yeah, definitely. And next up we head to Monza. Do you think you'll go well round there? Unique circuit, isn't it, with the very long straights?
It is. It's a very unique circuit. That I just gotta go out and do what I do best. I just try and be as consistent as I possibly can. On these kind of long races, that's the kind of thing you need to do. It's not sprint races. It's not a 20-minute race where if you start at the back, you've got to make your way through traffic to get a decent result. It doesn't work like that. Just take your time. Just pick your battles, and you see what happens.
Yeah, certainly the best way to go about racing. Thanks, Scott, for joining us. And is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, obviously the usual guys like yourselves for putting in the broadcast, the guys for organising this league, Team Mad for helping me out with racecraft and setups and keeping my head under the water, if you know what I mean, and just everybody else for putting up with me.
Thanks, Scott. And I'm sure we'll see you very soon on Apex Racing TV.
Oh yeah, definitely. You'll see me everywhere.
Thanks, Scott.
Hey, cheers, Sam.
Well, next up, I think we're going to have a chat with Davey Witzbowles because, Davey, I believe you are now the Silver Class Championship winner. Congratulations.
Good evening, guys. Thank you, but I'm not sure of it yet. Are you sure?
I am 90% sure.
Well, so there's 10%, not sure. Okay, but
Yes.
so yeah, it will be close. But I was counting the other week, and yeah, if they take the same winner every time, if Hessels wins every time and take the maximum of the points he needed, I needed 47 points, but now he had a bad race, so yeah, I had a clean race, an extra 3 points, so yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's the points for pole positions and fastest laps, aren't there? So that could still equate a little bit. But today, domination after not winning kind of the last few rounds, you must be really pleased just to kind of dominate a round like that. It looked really easy for you.
Well, dominating, yeah, I was very surprised, to be honest. Steve had the same pace as me, and but yeah, it was far behind. He made a mistake. Jeremy was not following either. So it's an easier race, but it's never easy because you need to keep focus and you need to keep the speed in it. Otherwise, you make mistakes. And it's very hot here in Belgium, so it's very hard to stay focused.
We saw a lot of drivers make mistakes out there today. The attrition rate was far higher than the rest of the season. Were you leaving much margin for error out there? Because once you dip a wheel onto the grass around this place, you're almost guaranteed to hit the wall.
Yeah, I was aware of that, and I was not pushing on anything. I was just driving my pace, a safe pace, no mistakes, because I have a 0x again. So it's just no mistakes and keep it on track and just stay focused. That's the main thing, and keeping yeah working with your head or racing with your head, and that's worked for me.
Next week we head to Monza. Surely quite a good circuit for the Ferrari, back with the Tifosi.
Well, I think it's the best track from the whole series, this series this season. It's a fast track. I think it's much better than all the other tracks. Like Solder was not good. This track, I was surprised. I was pretty fast. And yeah, next week normally I should be fast, but then the week after it's Brands Hatch. That will be worse again. But I'm looking forward for next week.
Yeah, we certainly wish you the best of luck for that one. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, to my team, Ponty Motorsport for the support, like always. Sim Racing Bay for setting up my steering wheel, and my family, and you guys, of course.
Thank you very much, Davey, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, see you soon.
Sam, in the race chat, they are absolutely clamoring for a Ben Llewellyn interview, and of course, since he is your favorite driver, I know you already did 2 interviews, but I think you have to take this away.
Awesome. Okay, having a Ben Llewellyn interview now. So, well, congratulations, Ben. Your first race win of the season.
Yeah, finally we've got there to the front. So yeah, thank goodness for that.
Yeah, it must have been a tight battle between you and James, because neither of you had won a race all season. Like, could be the team's first race win of the season. Must have been ever so difficult battling with one another, because you need contact and you would have thrown away the race win.
Yeah, I was following him, and I just said to him, I said, look, the win is yours. I'll take second place so long as we can keep it in there. But obviously, if you make a mistake, I'm through. And he just went wide through one of the corners, and yeah, I was going to have to back right out of it. And I thought, well, no, I'll leave it planted, and got through. But he was struggling with tyres big time, and I finished the race with really good tyres. So I don't know how that happened, but yeah, bit of luck.
Yeah. Well, from last on the grid to the race win as well. Did you have like a qualifying ban or something? Why
No.
were you so far down?
No, I chose not to qualify. I just decided that I've seen a few incidents on the first lap, and for 3 races now, I've just started at the back and waited for things to unfold and pick my way through. I'm not a very strong qualifier anyway, so it's easiest thing for me is to just get straight into the race.
Well, certainly the wise decision. Towards the end of this season, you've kind of won a race now, so it's tough to kind of set any new goals. But is it just about claiming a second race win now, or do you have an aim in the championship?
Just try and get the best result possible. I think when David Fuller's back, he's gonna take the win in our class. He's lightning pace, and he'll be here next week, I think. And Ben Thanes as well. He's really quick. With a bit more practice, I could probably catch them, but yeah, not with with my current practicing times.
Well, it's been great to chat to you, Ben. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Ian and everyone that organises the whole thing, it's been brilliant, and you guys do a great job commentating on it and giving us a great coverage. So, thank you to everyone really that's involved.
Well, thanks, Ben, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay, thanks.
So, Marco, who do you fancy having a chat with now?
I'd say we can get a chat with. Let's talk to Steve Clays. Hello, Steve. Welcome back in the booth.
And good evening, guys.
So I have to ask you, how did you not, crash out after that moment you had there at Moss Corner? Because by the way you crashed, we were sure your car was a write-off, and instead you were able to, keep going and get a good second place in the end.
Yeah, well, when I went into the turn and I hit the inside curb, well, there's not really a curb, but the car got out of balance. I immediately knew that at the point that I had to brake, that the car was not straight and that I would lose it. So it was like, oh yeah, there we go. I was just hoping that I could stop the car in front of the tire wall, but I eventually smashed it. And I thought, okay, it's over. I took off, and the car felt okay, but it was a little bit slower. I don't know, maybe engine damage or something, but it was not totally the same as before. But I could move on, and so I got lucky. Yeah. But like I said during the race, I really had to make no mistakes at all. But unfortunately, I did.
It was quite, I think, a hectic race around there. This track really doesn't give you many chances to, take a breather and, calm down a bit, because even on the straight, which is not really a straight there, the backstretch, then you have to think about this SS corner, which are always, tough, and not, your prototypical stop and start SS, but you have to keep a good flow. And then, of course, when you're in a battle with someone, or trying to close down someone, or, trying to run away from someone, you, like you were saying, really cannot afford any kind of mistake. Is it going to be, different next week in Monza? Because the track is, quite different.
Well, it's like you say, it was a tough track this week. Easy to make mistakes, like I said before. And I was really driving like, okay, just don't mess up. I could not catch Davy. The gap was too big. He was driving the same laps as me, so I was settling for second. I wanted to get first, but okay, you have to accept it. Next week, Monza. Looking forward to it because I'm always very strong. Maybe not in the GT3 because I race a lot of Porsche Cup car, but always strong there. I love the track. I know the little secrets, so I'm really looking forward to it. But it's again a fast track, and the Ferrari. It's gonna be a good battle, but I love it. That's why we're here.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, I like to thank you guys for the broadcast each week. I love it. Watch it each time again, and I share it because sharing is caring. And I hope we will see each other more and more in the upcoming season. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Steve, and catch you next time then.
See you next week.
So that was Steve Clays, who of course was also our in-race reporter. Of course, apologies, we're just going to have a chat with Tom Metherall as well, because Tom, congratulations, great race for yourself, and great race for your teammates. It's quite remarkable what you and your teammates have done with your level of consistency in the recent rounds.
Yeah, evening guys. Yeah, it was nice. For us in the top. I can't remember what it was. 2, 3, 4, 5 was it?
Yep.
Yeah, four of us in the top 5, and then last week all 5 of us in the top 10. Gutted for Ewan tonight. The car just wasn't behaving for him, but no, we'll certainly take 4 of us in the top 5 for sure.
You were kind of chasing Ruben for the entire race. Was there maybe any small mistakes that you made, or any regrets about that race, because it remained? But
the regret was that the sun came out, because first 10 laps track temperature was down, staying with Ruben. Managed to get the fastest lap of the race in the cooler temperatures, and then as soon as the track temps went up, my car was understeering, and Ruben was just pulling away. So made a couple of mistakes, but that was how hard I was having to push just to try and catch him, because Ruben's pace and the hot temps were unbelievable.
of course, currently you're in 8th position in the championship after missing the first, or not scoring in the first few rounds. But half a chance, maybe top 3 in the championship. Have you been thinking of that championship result at all, or are you just taking each race as it comes?
Well, first half of the season, I think 4 of the first 5 races I had an incident, so poor luck was to blame for that. But the championship we're looking at more is a team one, because me, Chris, and Bod have got a very good chance of catching Martin at the top of the team championship. So as long as we can get 2 cars in the top 5 in the next 2 races, I think we stand a very good chance.
Well, certainly good luck for that one. And also these final few rounds, we've got Monza and Brands Hatch, kind of 2 polar opposite circuits. Which circuit do you think you'll go better around?
Monza for sure. Not looking forward to Brands, if I'm honest. Monza, I stand a good chance of getting the top 5. Brands, I'll be happy with the top 10. But like today, anything can happen. I didn't have pace for second really until Marcel fell off, but you take what comes. So we'll see what happens at Brands.
Absolutely. Congratulations for today, Tom. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, you guys again for the broadcast. Ian and the rest of the Simracers World for the event, and Meraki. You guys are awesome. We've come on leaps and bounds considering this is our first season. The fact that we're pushing for the win in the team championship speaks for itself, really.
Well, thanks, Tom, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.
So, Marco, I think we've got one last Well,
are you
shall
sure?
we
Because
drag Bart Dillman in? Because the
last
last time
yeah.
we tried this, it did not go well.
No,
so...
I think he's there just to talk with the drivers.
Okay.
Also, I've been told that since, we have no Ian Roots around, there has been a little bit of a party going on in race direction. So
yes, I saw that. Yeah.
So
off the leash, let's say.
Exactly. Next week we will have Ian back. We will have hopefully Martin van Loosenhout back. Hopefully Matthias Etige, David Fuller will be back. So we might have the close to a full roster. Even this has been a race with big attrition on a track that is not very popular, in Europe. I'm expecting big numbers. Tonight we had 25 cars and they put on a fantastic show. Don't get me wrong, but Monza, especially if we consider in real life when we do the Blancpain endurance around there, they have 50 entries, something like that. I'm expecting a big field, a big grid. It's Monza. I'm already smiling, and it's 1 week away, so I'm sure we are going to have a fantastic race. Today was a different race than usual, Sam, because there have been many mistakes, but that's what we like about this track. It's really unforgiving, and from what we've had in the weekend at Paul Ricard, this was, I think, the complete opposite. So it was a nice change of pace, and Monza, of course, is going to provide a different set of challenges for these drivers. But still it's going to be very, very tough, especially negotiating those braking zones in the first few laps, of course, but also later, because we might see some massive runs through the straights and drivers who you know, we know that the slipstream in these cars is not that big, but in a track like Monza, I think it will give the driver behind just enough of a push to get side by side, and then when you go to the chicane, the track narrows a lot. So I'm expecting some big fireworks, and penultimate round of the season. So making mistakes will be very costly.
Yeah, and the kind of all three championships pretty much decided, even if Davey Witchballs hasn't mathematically sealed it today. He's pretty much there. We should almost certainly be able to announce him as championship winner next week. And of course, the bronze and the gold championships, I believe, are already done and dusted. So yeah, the drivers can be let free, and it should be very good fun next time at Monza. Hopefully, you'll join us for that. Of course, we've got plenty of other series on Apex Racing TV. Tomorrow, we've got the BSRTC Pro Series. That might be from Sonoma, I believe it is. And then on Friday, we've got the iRacing Le Mans Series. Not sure where that is from, but well, it's the iRacing Le Mans Series.
Yeah,
It'll be
and he
good
made
fun
a
either way.
triumphant comeback last week with
Yes.
many viewers. So, thank you very much. And also, that my tirade earlier on Ottawa apparently made Bart Delman very happy because he's planning a trip there. So.
Oh, awesome.
The most useful, useless facts I've ever said on a broadcast. But yeah, Samuli did a great job, and Le Mans series as always. And that gives basically, from now on, each day of the week, bar Sundays, we will have something to show you because, Monday through Saturday, there's always a race going on.
Yeah, and often two races going on as well. Of course, on Saturday, we've also got the Euro V8 Supercar Series, the Media Day from Sebring, which will be awesome fun. Anyone who hasn't seen the Euro V8 Supercar Series before, certainly do check it out. If you feel like driving the V8 Supercar, certainly do check out their Facebook page. You can assume, just search Racetech V8 race cars, I think, and that should come up with it. And also, we've got Sim Racers Asia as well. I might be covering that. Will you be there, Marco? For
Yes.
Sim Racers Asia? Yes. Okay, so it might be us two again, covering that one on Saturday. Before, of course, everything starts up next week as well. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, of course, leave a like on this video. And also, we would super appreciate if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like our Facebook page as well. But for me and from Marco as well, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next time.